Hey, everybody, I'm getting set up right now. Let me give you the fancy opening, and then I will jump into it. Let's get some music and get some. Hey guys, hold on. Stop that and let's go here and get to it. There is a tremendous amount to today. So the very first thing I'll start with, because I know you crazy kids are going to ask about it, is what's going on with Tesla. For those that keep asking, the blue light glasses are definitely helping. Just with the eye strain, 100%. This is acting fantastic. There's very little to say here. You've got a bunch of major resistances up here. The big one I see is like this 430 kind of area. You are holding fairly decently when you're getting to these levels. Like you're not really breaking them, which is super interesting. Like you're not really dropping. So I think a lot of people are out of position on it. And based upon that, he went out there and bought $1 billion worth of stock. So everybody's going goofy with it right now. But I do feel that, you had this call wall down here at the 400 level, which now is, nothing. I mean, it's really, you're probably not getting there anytime soon. And then you had this other level here at 420 where you had a lot of call buying. And then you have this level here at 417, which is what you'd want to focus on this morning. For me, the most important thing about this, from my perspective, is going to be looking at this and saying, all right, can I get through 430? And if I can, then you can push. You could continue to push here. So this is definitely something that I would be watching today for sure. And it's certainly something that I'd be paying attention to. I mean, I've been trading it. I didn't carry anything over the weekend. I did very well last week with it. I've done very well this morning with it as well. But when we start rejecting up here, I start to get a little concerned, and you have come a long way in a very short period of time. You don't really have the negative divergence from here, but you're starting to get it in here a little bit. It reset, took it out. And now you're starting to get that slope. So I would just be careful of the slope and make sure that you break it, because you can see that slope on the RSI. If you don't use it, that's fine. You don't have to, but I do use the RSI, and it does make me want to watch that a little closer and just make sure that I actually get through, or that, maybe we break the DTL off the open. Usually what happens with these kinds of trades for me is they will reset, meaning they will tend to come in pretty hard off the open. Like if you had calls over the weekend and you're not getting out, I mean, I can't help you. So it's definitely something of interest, and you're starting to get a little weaker in here. Let's take a look at the ES. And I don't think, I don't really know what we're going to wind up doing until we get to that day, meaning until we get through Wednesday. And I think that's how everybody needs to look at this. Until you're getting through Wednesday, I don't really know where our head should be with it. So when we look at the market as a whole, we can see how you're dropping right from that level. You've already taken it out, right? And I think that, again, super important. No one knows how this is going to go. I mean, I have an understanding that he's definitely going to cut. And if he doesn't, he's going to have a real problem. So he is going to cut. But this has kind of been that range, even from 4 o'clock this morning, the bounce, the retest, the bounce on the support line, and then you're sitting right in here. So I do think that this is very important for us to watch. Are you going to get through today, or are you not? I don't really have an answer to that. I would think that you're going to have pretty light volume until then. If you start breaking down through the 65.77, then you're probably heading to that 65.62. I don't know that people are really going to want to be out ahead of the Fed. What I tend to look at is stuff like this and seeing that, are you aligned when you're doing it? And you are so far. So meaning if you hit a higher high, this took out the higher high. So I don't really see the impetus here to do a lot just yet on the index side. And that's definitely something that I would be watching, just to kind of see how that goes. I don't know that you have to do too much there. Now, if we look at the NQ, and then we'll go take a look at this on a little bit longer term, but let's get through these and start over. Now, you look at the NQ and you're back to the same level and you're rejecting again, right? So if we move these up a little bit now, I think that that's prudent. And you're right there where you're hitting lifts, hits, lifts, hits. And if we kind of start dropping you back down. So that's really how I see it. I don't know that there is much more here. I've got all these 100 levels. You know what? This is what we're going to do with it. Let's just start it over. Start this party over. So we'd start there, and then you'd go to these levels, right? And we'd see how that's going. And I don't think there's much more there. And you have this kind of topping pattern in here, but you really have this battleground right here that, that happened on the open. So that's really how I see it. What I would do with it is just look at the RSI again and say, all right, well, I don't really have negative divergences. So when it hits that high, it's hitting it. And I think that's a good thing. But, when we start to look at this from a different perspective, let's say we look at this from I'll show you this perspective on a 4 hour, and we get to that, you're up there. So you better not screw up, Wednesday, because we are up there. And I think that's super important. If you look at the Qs, they're going to be following as well. But, these dips on the Qs, they really were what you were looking for to kind of get involved, right? Now the question is, how sustainable is staying up here? well, you can keep bonking along as long as you're over, but you're more of a cat in a hot tin roof up this way. So, for me, it's really watching them. And we can go take a look at this real quick, see what we have here. I got something of interest here that I think is worth mentioning. And then just go to this. Give me 1 second here. See if I got something for you. Yeah, I mean, they did move that up. So, you really don't have anything major until that 590 area now. So I'd watch that, 590 kind of area right up in here. Let's move it that way. So that would be that would be your real issue right up in there. Let me just see if I have anything else out there that's like pertinent that I think is like super interesting. Yeah, I mean, 85 is probably going to hold. So you should hold. If 85 goes, you're probably going to have an issue. If 85 goes, you might start seeing some weakness. That's really where they're going to tend to linger. So that's kind of where I see those levels. Let's go take a look at the SPY real quick, and we can go look at those, see what's going on there, what the HAPS is. I did send out a bunch of invites. So if you're on the list and you're trying to get in, just look for them. They should be coming shortly. 660. Let's go take a look at the 660 level. Go right into, okay. And we'll go right into here with that 660. And I think that's really your area. And then wow, you need to really stay up here. You need to stay in this range or you're going to have an issue, I think. You don't want to break this. So, and I don't know that you're going to. I think you're going to be in a super tight range and people are going to wonder what the heck's going on with the market. And you're getting these kinds of like pushes like this, which I always love because it always makes people panic. Fear and panic, you can smell them. So, let's just see. Let's just see what else we got here. Let's see if I got something else in my notes I want to go over. Let me just see if there's anything else I really want to go over. Not really that you guys are going to ask about. You guys are going to ask about all kinds of stuff. So let me just make sure of this so that I am done. There we go. Perfect. All right, let's get to it. And I'll try to get through these. Yeah, the T-bills, I'm not overly sweating that because I don't know that people are going to be doing too much before then. I don't know if people are going to be doing too much on the T-bills today. Tesla looks ready. RKLB looks like it's going to be a monster, right? I mean, like this thing just looks like it's going to absolutely explode, which usually means it doesn't. But yeah, they're definitely out there for sure. The big one for me out of all these is, this one just looks like it wants to go. And you've been basing for a long period of time now. So for something like this, when you look at that, I mean, you've been out there for a while. So you might go. You might really go there. And it's definitely on my radar today. Monster, I don't like to play these names. I don't know why. I just don't like them. It does look like it's going to hold. You came right back to the gap fill right after earnings. I mean, it's absolutely perfect, but it's not something that I want to play. So it's not something that I play. I don't know. I think the other one makes a lot more sense. Yeah, BA, what can it do? I mean, I think you're just going to keep rolling, right? So, you look at it, you broke the 55. Ever since then, these low beta names, when these low beta names break, they tend to break. When they get above, they tend to stay above. So they tend to really do what these moving averages tend to do versus tech. That's what makes these trades so deadly. Like it's so much easier to do these trades when they break because you're like, oh, it broke. So therefore it's this. It's a much easier trade than doing a high beta name. So yeah, I think the larger issues here, right there, right? 215.90. I think that's your larger issue right there. So that's the one that I would be paying attention to more than any of them. And let's just keep going here. See what we have. So the copper miners, I think that you're right on. I don't know that I want to buy it. I think that the easy money's made. You probably are going higher, Jacob. More from Miami. Yeah, I think all these names are going a lot higher, like a lot higher. You're going to need to build out so much. Like there's so much build out that's coming. Um, I don't know why this one's just like a disaster, but maybe they don't benefit the same way. But yeah, like all this stuff's coming. Samsung going back online is absolutely huge. So it's absolutely huge, but 100% that whole space makes sense, which especially with Samsung going back online. So it just means more demand, which is exactly what you're going to get. So it's good. I wouldn't go near it just the way it's set up. See how it keeps going higher and that these keep going lower. So I think there was a time and place for it. I don't think that's now. I think it's going to be really hard to go wrong here buying this, especially the way it's setting up and just lifted. I think the whole market's setting up actually to lift, but you got to get through Wednesday. I mean, you can trade it for sure. You're going to be all over the place. But yeah. I like ARC. I do. I own it. I've owned it for a while. Joby FMCC TM. Okay, hello. I mean, there's so many to go over there. I think they're all interesting. This reversal would bother me. That reversal would really bother me. So I wouldn't even go near it until I'm over that. Like it wouldn't even. I would need some kind of close over this. The way that acted. That's like really nasty stuff. That way, the way you ran up and then the way they just smoked you. That would really bother me. I actually own it and bought it that day, but that would really bother me. I don't mind holding it, but I'm just telling you ahead of time, like that's not how that's supposed to go at all. I actually bought it that day, but it should have gone, or it should have held much better. You got to get it. You got to settle in for a ride here. You're gonna bonk around a lot here, like a lot. So I think you have to kind of settle in there and just realize that you could just be at 8 as fast as you could be, down. So all of them you have to pay attention to. You just do. And keep that in mind. TEM, it looks to me like that wants to go. I don't have a position in it. OKLO, I do have a position in, and it looks like it's going to go to, you look like you're heading to triple digits, candidly. I mean, you're setting up perfectly. Like it's perfect, and you don't have to worry about income because you don't have any revenue. So, you're just trading on a dream. And that's great until it's not a dream anymore, and then the dream dies. So it's one of those things, you just don't want to be there when the dream dies. I don't know what's going on here. I think it's it's doing fantastic. I forget what they even do, to be honest with you. So I know a lot of people are playing it, so that's good. Sophie. It just looks like it wants to grind, right? I don't think there's much to say there. I mean, all regional should be going nuts. If they cut rates the way I think they're going to cut rates, if they cut 50 basis points, I mean, that stuff's going to go crazy. In regards to like P Sky, I own it. I think you just have to forget that you own it. I think that's the best thing that you could do for yourself, because I don't think people have a clue where this is going or what their game plan is. I don't think people have a freaking clue. I don't know how else to say it. And I really think that's a huge, huge mistake, not understanding what's going on here. They probably do win the Warner Brothers, but let's see how it plays out. I like it a lot. I think that this is going to be. I personally think it's going to be them and Netflix. Like that's how I see it. They're going to be like they have the potential to really rally or really rattle Netflix because they don't have to sell their catalog. They could just, oh no, everything that we have is now here. And now you need them. And then what's Netflix going to do? And if Netflix gets, and if these guys get Warner Brothers catalog as well, and they start putting all that stuff on the app, like, which they will, I mean, it's going to become a real thing. You watch Disney because there's some stuff on there, like that Alien Origins is great, but the catalog that Paramount has, the catalog that Skydance has is from a movie perspective, it's crazy. And they have like, I just don't think people are getting this, which is awesome for me. Gives me more time. MTA. Yeah, I'd have to look into how those royalties work because they're all different. It's not simple. So I'd have to really look into this, Julian, before I made a comment. I don't want to make a comment and speak out of turn, because I don't know what I'm talking about. I think there's much better names out there. I think there's much better names than this out there. I just do. I think there's much better names out there right now. I'd be looking at regionals over this. And I think that this can go. This is actually in the block ETF now. So you have you have net buyers there. Yeah, but why bother? Why not just why not just buy the leader? It just doesn't make any sense. So that's how I say it. That's how I say it. Why wouldn't you just buy the leaders? It truly doesn't make any sense to me. Just buy the leaders. Gold and silver. Gold, I do. Silver looks great. I don't really own either. Home builders, banking, we'll find out this week. Let's keep going through. What's up, Troy? Yeah, I think that there's definitely something to that with Sienna. Obviously, with those earnings, I think there's something to that with Light. I think you have to really kind of get into this stuff. For me, it's just kind of understanding that Corning is probably going to be the X, and people are not going to get it. And it's going to be a slow burn. That's how I say it. Anyway, from Patak. Greetings from Miami. XHBKRE. I think you're stepping in front of a train and you just want to see what they do. I really think you want to watch how this goes before you tell it how it's going to go. And then we'll go from there. But let's see there. Let me go take a look at this. I think you have to wait, man. Doesn't everyone know they're going to cut rates? See, the easiest trades to me, I think, are the mortgage companies. I think if people went and looked at how much these mortgage companies, if you went and looked at refis when this happened, hold on. If you went and looked at refis when this happened, man, refis jumped through the freaking roof. Through the roof. So, yeah, it's definitely something that I am I'm looking at. And I like those mortgage companies. So, throat scratch this morning. Have they? I've been saying this forever. See where you're at? Fed cut here. This is what people aren't getting at all. They're not getting at all what could actually happen. Fed cut rates right here. You're cutting rates into increased productivity. When you cut rates into increased productivity, market goes crazy. Hi, Lynn. What's up, Journal? Good morning from Western Australia. Good morning from Miami. I don't know why you'd buy QUBT. I think there's better names. Just my opinion. What do I know? I mean, like, why wouldn't you just buy this? Like, it just seems so much easier. I mean, rising tide, I get, but I don't feel like you're in a rising tide market. That's just my opinion. Yeah, that dude's got issues, huh? ASST, it looks like the merger's out. Yeah, I mean, it was really interesting today. I tried to buy a bunch of it, and they wouldn't let me. And I think it's got something to do with the merger, or maybe a symbol change is coming. I don't know. It was weird. Clearly you have your range, so. Yeah, I don't know that Oracle's going to go anywhere just yet, but I mean, it's kind of stupid how it fell down, but they have all those option players out there, so let it settle. I don't know that you have to be in a huge hurry there. That looks awful. So you might actually get net sellers on that today off the open. I don't know that you're going to get net buyers. You might actually get net sellers there. Netflix, I think that you have to look at this and just go, do you really want to stay in this? I think that people are starting to realize that this with Skydance. I could be wrong. What's up, Bob? I mean, what a monster, huh? I mean, good Lord. Crazy where this thing was and where it is. Absolutely insane. UEC was? Rocket I like a lot. Happy Monday, Lise. Zim's always all over the place. It's really a tough one to trade. Ally makes a lot of sense, Troy. I like Rocket a lot, but that makes a lot of sense too. Let's take one more quick look here. I think you're going to get through it. Someone's out of position, huh? Somebody's definitely nervous. See how that goes. All right, guys. Make good choices. Trade to win.